keeping the legs crossed if you can. Keep your hands relaxed in your lap. And gently close your eyes. And still yourself from the core. Let your body be peaceful and relaxed. And now focus your attention to your breathing. And just observe your natural breath and the pauses between the breaths. In breath and a small pause, and out breath and again a small pause. So watch the whole cycle of breathing. Pay attention to how this breathing happens with inhalation and exhalation and the gaps between them. You can just be with this breath awareness meditative state. And you can just listen to this topic, this continuation of which we were discussing last time, which is about the law of perception creation of the universe, the universal law of perception creation. So, what does this law say? It tells us that whatever your world is, your world is being created through your own perceptions. Whatever you are perceiving, it passes through the mind, and then the mind projects it out. And it becomes your reality. Your reality or your world is created out of that projection of the mind. So whatever you perceive becomes your world. So there is no objective world, there is no fixed world there. The world you see is dynamically created through you. That is why it is said that you do not perceive reality as it is. You perceive reality as you are. Your own inner state creates your reality, which is said in Sanskrit like Yatha Drishti Tatha Srishti. Your mind shapes your world. And this is a mind-blowing revelation that does my mind really shape my world? How does this happen? The question will come. How does perception create my world? So, in the last time we discussed, we first understood how perception happens, then we'll understand how creation happens. So this is what is the law of perception creation. So in perception, we discussed that perception is actually a stepwise process, a multi-layered phenomena. And the first layer through which perception happens is through the senses. The first information from this outside world is captured by the five senses. And it is information as sight, visual information, sound, smell, touch, taste. So all this information of the outside world or this raw data is continuously coming through the senses to the brain. But this raw data is very huge in size, like billions of bits per second. But our mind, our conscious brain has a very limited processing ability. It cannot process so much of data. It can process only a few bits per second. So what it does is that it filters out all the irrelevant information and data, and it takes in or it processes only that information which is very relevant for the well-being of what, or for the survival, or something which is very important or urgent. So only that information is processed by the brain. Rest of the information is just filtered out because that is not important. So this shows that our senses do not present the reality to us as it is. We do not experience the outside world as it is. The first layer of perception is the five senses, which already filters out so much of information that is presented to us through the brain. So all this information gets edited and modified to suit the processing capacity of the brain in the order of importance. Then the second layer or the phase of perceiving, which we discussed, it happens to the information passing through the limbic system. All the information, the data which comes through the senses into the brain passes through the limbic system, and the limbic system categorizes it. It gives an emotion. It gives an emotional coloring to that data. So whatever was out there, it gets modified again through another layer of perception by the limbic system. And this information is it gets an emotional tagging, and now it is presented to the prefrontal cortex. So what we think that our data that our prefrontal cortex gets is as it is, it doesn't happen that way. The prefrontal cortex does not get the raw information to act upon. It gets like almost third hand information, which passes first through the funnel of the senses, then the emotional tagging or the emotional meaning through the limbic system. So here we can see how the reality gets twisted in our perceiving. We think that whatever we see is truly what is there, but no, it is all twisted and modified through this process of perception. And and the third layer of influence on perception is the strongest, which is the influence of beliefs, the influence of belief system in the mind. The reality which we see gets altered, modified through our beliefs. So what are beliefs actually? What really are beliefs? They are not just only thoughts. They are not merely thoughts. Beliefs, a belief is actually some conviction that was formed, which was based on some experience in the past. There was some experience, some evidence happened in the past. It created an experience, and based on that, a certain conviction was made, and it gets impressed on the mind, on the brain, on the memory, and this is called as a belief. And we know that most of our beliefs, they are formed in the early childhood itself, before 7 8 years, because the subconscious mind is very open in those formative years, and the rational, the critical thinking brain is not yet developed, the prefrontal cortex is not yet developed. So every information which comes to the, which is presented to the child, becomes a belief, because the child doesn't have the capacity to critical think about it, or rationalize it, or reason it, and discard if it is not logical. The child doesn't have those capabilities, so the child just takes it as truth. So most of the beliefs are formed in childhood, and all these beliefs, they become so integral that as we grow older, that they really become a part, a strong part of our personality itself. They become a part of our psyche. And in fact, all these beliefs, they behave like the operating system of our mind. These beliefs shape whatever I notice, whatever I pay attention to, whatever catches my attention, or whatever I ignore, or what I expect. All these things are decided by what are my beliefs behind them. What are the beliefs in my mind? And because these beliefs have been formed so early in childhood, they become so tightly bound that they are taken to be the truth. It's because every time this belief is strengthened, it becomes true. It is taken as a fact. So, is belief not a fact? Or what is the difference between a fact and a belief? So, is belief not true? So, the fact or the truth is that which never changes. Like, for example, the earth is round. So, this is a fact. This is not a belief. But beliefs, they can change. Beliefs, they are convictions based on some experience. But if there is a new experience, if there is some new evidence, then that belief can change. So this is what is the difference between a belief and a fact. So what do these beliefs do? They shape your perception. And based on these beliefs, the focus is directed somewhere. And this decides what will be my behavior. And behavior will decide what will be the outcome. So this is how beliefs shape the ultimate outcome. And this is how what my reality becomes based on my belief system. Like for example, we'll take an example to understand. We like every person has innumerable beliefs which we are not even aware of. Like, for example, I have a belief that people don't like me. Suppose this is a belief which is there in my mind. Then what happens? So now, whenever I'm interacting with someone, my attention will always, it will selectively try to find signs which indicate somehow that people are ignoring me, people don't like me. So little hints, the brain tries to find little hints, and all these hints, they keep on building up the story. And gradually what happens that my behavior will become according to that. Like, I may become a bit hostile, I may become cold because my belief was that people don't like me, and I'm finding clues there. And in response to that, I also try to behave that way. And when my behavior is that, when people find my behavior like that, then they may try to avoid me. And when this happens, then my belief is confirmed. It becomes a stronger conviction. See, I told you, no, people don't like me. No one likes me. People ignore me. So this is how the belief, it changes your perception, because your attention goes there, and your attention, where your attention or your focus goes, your reactions and your behaviors become that way. And when your behavior becomes that way, then there is a result of that which is appropriate to whatever was my perception. And this is also called as confirmation bias in psychology, that I had a conviction and I found that yes, what I believe is true, and I'll be biased towards those things which confirm my belief. This is confirmation bias. So every human has innumerable number of beliefs which shape the reality, and we are not aware of them. In general living, people are not aware of them. It is because beliefs are not very obvious. As I said, the belief becomes so integral part of you that you cannot separate them out from yourself. You start believing that this is you. This is your belief, means this is my opinion and this is me only. You start identifying with that belief and your opinion. So that is why you cannot, you are not aware of them, because to be aware of something, you have to separate that out from you. If it is something which is you only, then you cannot be aware of it. But if that is apart from you, if it is separate from you, then you can look at it. So this is how beliefs are. They are just like, eyes, our eyes through which we see. The eyes see everything, but they can't see themselves, isn't it? The eyes cannot see themselves. But if the eyes have to see themselves, then you have to look into the mirror. So beliefs are just like that. They are not obvious. So to identify your belief, you need a mirror. A mirror means reflect. You have to reflect. Reflection has to be done. And this is the role, this is the importance of reflection or contemplation, which is such an important practice in the spirituality, which is called manana, chintan manan. So reflection is the most important part to identify your hidden patterns, your hidden beliefs, which are silently shaping the world around you, which is they are silently shaping my creation, my reality, and I'm not aware. And I'm thinking that something is happening to me. But it is that my mind is projecting the same things outwards. So the mind has so many, mind harbors so many beliefs. There could be many, like the common ones, like I suppose that the beliefs that I'm not intelligent enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good looking, or the world is full of injustice and bad people, people are untrustworthy, people are selfish, I'm not attractive, you know, money is bad, or wealth is corrupting, and there is not enough in my life, I don't have enough money, or showing my weakness, showing my emotions is weakness. So there are so many beliefs. When we try to reflect and contemplate, we'll be able to identify each one of them. Or there are so many beliefs, like if I take out time for myself, or self care, that means it is selfish. So all these beliefs, they limit myself. They create limits in my capabilities, my freedom, and my right to enjoy life fully. And this belief that I cannot meditate is also a belief. So in in a later part, we'll discuss about how to identify these limiting beliefs, how to identify those beliefs that limit me, that prevent me from expanding my consciousness. So changing your limiting beliefs to liberating beliefs. This is what we have to do. So if I'm experiencing a world in which there is less of joy, there is less of freedom, there are bondages, बंधन है बहुत सारे, where there is suffering, then I have to understand that it is my mind, it is the perception through my mind that has created this reality. And it is difficult to believe this actually. But you need not believe, because you can experiment it yourself. You can shift your perception, and then you can see the shift in your reality. So if I have to change my reality, then I need to reflect. I need to reflect what I am perceiving. So if I change my perception, that means I change my creation. This is the law. Perception creation. Perception creates your world, creates your reality. So if you want to change the reality, you have to change the perception. It is a simple equation. So this is how we understood that the way perception happens, it is through the senses, and through the emotions, and third is most important, through our beliefs. Now to the second part of this law, perception creation. So we understood what is perception. Now the second part is creation, which is now the most interesting thing to know. How does creation happen? We understood that how perception happens. Now how perception causes creation. How creation happens based on perception. This is the magical part, to understand how creation happens, how creation happens through the perception. So the way through which creation happens is through vibration, through vibrational resonance. So if you recall, we discussed about these vibrations in law of impermanence in the earlier session, that how everything in this universe, in this creation, is constantly changing. Everything in this creation is impermanent. And the cause of impermanence is vibration. Because vibration means change from one state to the other. Isn't it? How vibration happens, oscillating from one state to the other. So this completes one vibration. So everything in this creation is constantly changing, and it is because all is vibration. So we can say that all creation is literally vibration. It is pulsating. Everything is just vibrations only. All the matter right from the huge galaxies right up to the subatomic particles, particles which are even smaller than atoms, which are called subatomic particles. They are quarks and so many names I don't even know. There are around 300 subatomic particles which have been discovered by physicists and scientists. So they have discovered that all this is vibration. Everything in matter, all matter is vibration only, including our body. Our body is also matter and it is made up of vibrations. So the mind is also creation and the mind is also vibration. All the contents, all the activity of the mind is vibrations only. Thoughts are vibrations, emotions are vibrations, feelings, sensations, memory, everything is vibration. So the whole mental state is a vibrational state only. There is a psychiatrist, you must have heard his name, Dr. David Hawkins. There was a psychiatrist, sorry, he is no more. So he has developed something called as map of consciousness. And it is based on different vibratory states. And he has given a scale to each vibration. And he has broken down the human experience, the human consciousness into different levels, and how he has found the vibration through applied kinesiology, muscle testing, that they do the kinesiology. So through applied kinesiology, he has found that from 1 to 1000, there are different vibratory states of human consciousness. And grossly, I'll share the whole map of consciousness. It is very well known. It is very much there on the internet. Still, I'll share the picture in the group. And he has categorized these vibratory states like below 200. He has found that emotions like shame, guilt, fear, and anger, these are below 200. These are the lowest vibrations. They are the lowest of all vibratory states. And above 200 to 600, these vibratory states are of courage, willingness, love, and peace. And 700 to 1000, this vibrations is of the enlightened states. So this is how he has found out the levels of vibrations. In common language, we do speak like that only. Okay, low vibration hai, high vibration hai, vibes. In the modern language, people say vibes. So these are the vibrations which are the fundamental thing in the creation. They are the most fundamental thing which creation is made up of, vibes or vibrations. So the lower is your vibration, means you have those emotions like shame, guilt, fear, anger. If your vibration is higher, there is courage, love, peace. And if it is still above, then it is the vibration of an enlightened state. And now you can also connect, if you recall about our chakra session. So what were the emotions related to the lower chakras? It was these lower emotions which Dr. David Hawkins correlated with science, with biology. The lower chakras, the Mooladhara chakra, the emotion is fear, anxiety, nervousness. The Swadhisthana chakra emotion was anger, guilt. So this means the lower chakras, in the lower chakras, the consciousness is connected with the lower vibrational emotions. And in the higher chakras, which we learned, it is about love. The heart chakra is the vibration, is holds the vibratory frequency of love. So it is a higher emotion. Or courage. Courage is the uh, vibration or the emotion related to the Manipur chakra. So these are all higher emotions, higher vibrations, and even still higher, um, the third eye chakra, the crown chakra. They are related to enlightened states, the state of wisdom, intellect. So it is higher vibratory state. So this is how this vibration, these vibrations also correlate with what David Hawkins found. And we also find evidence of these vibrations in in the scriptures also, like the Nad Brahma or the Nad. Nad is sound or vibration. There are scriptures or great books like Spandakarika, which describes in detail about this vibration through which the creation comes into existence. So now the question will come that how does vibration create reality? So what happens is that if there is a if there is a mind in which there is a certain which has a certain vibratory state, then how does his external environment or the world gets created? And this happens due to resonance, and it is also called as the principle of correspondence. Resonance means, we have used the tuning fork, if you remember, in experiments in physics, and also physiology used to have tuning fork. No? So we know that there is a certain frequency in a tuning fork, like suppose 512 hertz or whatever. And if you strike the tuning fork, it vibrates at that frequency. And now you bring another tuning fork which is stationary, which is not vibrating, and you bring it closer, and we'll find that the stationary tuning fork also starts vibrating with the same frequency. This is what is called as resonance or correspondence. Means one vibration corresponds to the surrounding matter, and it induces the same frequency vibration. So this is how the vibrations create. And this is a beautiful science of vibration, which is called as vibronics. today the time is up. So, because this is an elaborate topic and it will need a very, it will need some time because it needs a bit of understanding and it's really mind blowing because it has lot of implications in our perception and how we can modify our world around us, modify our creation. And there are so many laws which are again connected with this perception creation, like the law of attraction, which is very interesting to know. The law of attraction or the law of manifestation, it works on this only perception creation. The law of karma is again based on this law, the vibratory principles, how vibrations through resonance they create patterns and they and it creates the world around me. So, and today, we were discussing in the group, if you remember, Dr. Ritu was also saying that there are some people who sometimes they cause trouble or some problems. And once we start forgiving them, once we start letting go the anger or whatever resentment we hold, then we have experienced it positively ourselves. We have evidence through our own direct experience that situations change. Now, how did that happen? When I was always angry, I wanted to take revenge, I wanted to teach this person a lesson, then things get aggravated. It is because of the vibrational frequency. My mental state had a certain vibration, so it resonated with the same frequency. So that is why I attract people, similar people in my life. But when my vibratory frequency changes to forgiveness or letting go, then my state of mind or the my vibration it changes. And when that changes, then it attracts the similar vibration. That means it I will attract people who are similar to that, and also people who do not resonate with me, who do not have the same vibratory frequency as myself will be shifted away. This is how it happens. So this is the basis, and it is not a fantasy or not a fiction. It is a law. It is a law. It happens that way. That when your frequency changes, the world around you changes. And you can find evidence through your own experimenting in life. So we'll discuss more about this science of vibronics in the next session. And further more about creation and how I can change my reality, how I can change the world around me, how I can create a new reality for me, which I love. So that we'll we'll talk together. So just breathe in and out. A few gentle breaths. Just find the peaceful spot to let this knowledge get absorbed. so that I can use it as wisdom to make my life joyful, as well as to make the people around me joyful as well, because there will be resonance. That is why we feel so peaceful around saints, enlightened people, because their vibration, they are in the highest vibratory state. So you can also feel those vibrations around them. And even places, temples, places of spiritual importance. It is the same thing, because all matter is also vibration, not just people, places, buildings, everything. So now, if you want to continue this contemplative meditation, doing still more manana on this topic, then you may do so. Or if you want to come out of the meditation and gently become aware of your surroundings, become aware of your body, you can open your hands and move your fingers now. And slowly open your eyes and come out of this meditation. So, should we end this session?